Running D&D or any other TTRPG online may not be your first choice, but you can still have a lot of fun running it online, and for a lot of people, that may be the only option available. So, in this video, I'm going to jump into my top 5 tips for running the best online game you can, or at least making the most out of your online experience. Number 1 is don't bite off more than you can chew in terms of technology. I am a huge fan of Foundry VTT, but if you're either not good with tech, or more importantly, because I think anyone can figure it out with enough time, if you're not willing to put in the time to figure it out, you probably shouldn't use it. Or understand that you're going to have to take some time to learn it, and so when you first start using it, you're not putting on a million mods, you're just kind of using what you need to actually get the game running. And if you know that you don't have time, you don't want to spend the money, I've done videos on Owlbear Rodeo. That might be a really good option for running games online if you have to do it online and you don't want to really use a full VTT. The next one, and this is especially true if the online experience is a bit newer for you, make sure to get on early. Have your players get on early. You are likely going to run into some tech issues, and so you want to make sure that you have enough time to get that all figured out. Though you should also make sure that you get as much of that figured out beforehand as possible, which brings me to my next tip. Make sure to incorporate the tools that you're using in your session 0. Know what tools you're going to use. Personally, I like using Foundry for my VTT, and I like using Discord for our voice and video chat, though you may be able to use voice and video through Foundry. I've recently been playing with that, and it actually works pretty well if you set it up. Regardless, though, know what you and your table are going to do. Make sure that everyone is on the same page. Even things like how you're going to roll dice. Some players really like rolling the physical dice, which is fine for some tables. Other tables may require everyone to roll on their virtual tabletop or whatever digital dice rolling tool that everyone can see is. All of that should be covered in the session 0 so that when you get to the first session, your expectations are aligned, the players' expectations are aligned, and there isn't any awkwardness when players want to roll physical dice and you're like, nah, I don't really want to do that. Or maybe you let them roll physical dice, but they have to have a camera that can show it, or you just trust your players. I don't know. Just make sure you talk about that and everyone is in alignment with that. The next tip, I want to talk about music really quick because I feel like this is a pretty normal one that people focus a lot on for online play, and I'm probably going to hurt some feelings on this one, but I would not worry about music the first couple times you're playing. If you are comfortable and you have a lot of time to set everything up, sure, throw music on there. But I don't think it's the highest priority, and when you have a million other things, the music, I feel like, has the least return on investment for time, so to speak, and it seems to break the most, and some players just mute it because they find the music annoying or whatever. So I wouldn't put a huge emphasis on music. If you want to use music and you use Discord for your chat, I would recommend Kenku FM. I have enjoyed that. You can load music on pretty easily. You can run it from your computer, and it's basically like another person that pops in the Discord chat, but you can control it, skip the songs forward, pick different songs, pause, play, adjust the volume, all of those controls that you would like to have. That's probably the easiest way to do it. If you're playing on something like Foundry or Roll20, you can load music on, and it can be really good, but sometimes you run into issues if the file sizes are too big. So again, I would have that my lowest priority and probably use something like Kenku FM, but that's just me. My last tip, and this one's a little bit broad, but I'll go into specifics, but it's keep people engaged. When you're playing online, it can be really easy to get disengaged, to start playing other games, clicking around on Facebook. Like, you've got screens in your face that's just begging you to go click onto other stuff and stop paying attention to D&D. As a Dungeon Master, remember that, keep that in mind, and there's a couple tips that can help keep your players engaged and interested in what's going on. The first thing is webcams. Webcams help so much with being able to gauge how your players are feeling or the other players at the table. It can help you see if somebody's trying to say something but they're muted. There's so many reasons to use webcams. I strongly encourage it. If your group has webcams and they're able to, use the webcams. The next thing is literally try to keep people engaged. Call on people. Ask specific people what they want to do. Sometimes if it's not in combat, you'll get 1 or 2 players that will just take over all the social encounters, and make sure that every player feels like they have an opportunity to participate in the game. Because once you get a 20 minutes, we'll say, where somebody's shopping or they're having a one-on-one conversation. Everyone else is going to get disengaged. They're clicking around on Facebook, they're watching YouTube videos, they're not paying attention, and then it's so hard to get them back into the game. So try to just never lose them. And you can do that by constantly kind of calling on people and making sure that one person isn't stealing the show. This is very hard to balance, but I would put a high emphasis on making sure that you get this right and just being very aware of it while you're running your games. And the last thing I recommend while trying to keep people engaged is run shorter games. If you're running a 6-7 hour game, that is a lot while you're playing on your computer. That is a lot of time to just be staring at screens. For me, the sweet spot seems to be 3 hours. 2 hours are good, but they seem to be a little bit on the short side, and 4 hours, if it goes anything past 4 hours, I just feel very drained. So 3 hours is what I personally find a nice sweet spot for time. Well, that's it. Those are my tips for helping you run better online games. Hope this helped, and I will see you next time.